Alright, so before the video starts, I just want to quickly say that I'm gonna be using a couple of replays from the Lacho Replays YouTube channel. No, it's not any kind of like an ad or anything like that. It's just that new patch rolled out and my lazy ass wasn't prepared for that kind of thing. So, yeah. Still though. Hello guys, my name is kiminekyt and I welcome you to my, at this point, kind of an annual rant about how bad the wargaming is and why should they all die in the fire. Just kidding, only half the video is gonna be about that. The rest of the video is going to be about what you may already see in the title of the video. The things we hate about this game, the stuff that sucks about it, and what could be changed about it to make it overall a better game. Not that the wargaming is ever going to change it, but there is still the possibility, so let's just hope. Either way, let's start out with the big elephant in the room. Big elephant in the room, I said that if there was no other. This game could be a damn wildlife reservation with how many there are. Either way, let's start with the first elephant in the room. The wargaming's beloved premium tanks. If a friend of yours left this game recently and you were to ask him why did he leave, he would most likely respond with fucking premium tanks, man. And if you are new to the game, so you have played it for maybe a couple of days, months, basically anything less than 2 years, there is a good chance that you don't even know about the premium tank fiasco of 2016. Still, what basically happened at the time was that Wargaming thought that it would be a great idea to start putting new, morbidly overpowered premium tanks into the game and then act as if nothing has ever happened. I don't know what went over their heads at the time, if they're hard and EA accounted or what, I don't care, but it was still a really bullshit move to make. At the time they added 4 new premium tanks into the game, all of which were not only fake, but also blatant copies of already existing tanks in the game, with just something taken to the max. For example, the Defender was basically an IS-3, but with armor that was literally impenetrable unless you spam premium rounds at it. The Scorpion G was just regular Berserk, but like 3 times faster, and the Patriot was literally the T-32, but stronger in everything. Just the addition of so many such overpowered tanks greatly angered the fanbase, but the wargaming was not done yet. They still needed to rub the salt in our wounds, as to answer why they are nerfing those damn premium tanks, they always responded with something like, "People are buying premium tanks for a reason, for their strengths, for their playstyle and the capabilities they've had at the moment they purchased them, and we are not going to change that with pointless balance changes. We don't want to make people feel like what they are buying will become useless after a couple of weeks." And didn't care about the fact that you just made every old premium bloody useless, did ya? You made me turn into a bloody Brit there for a second, but what they've said kind of makes sense, even if I had to agree with it. When you are dealing with something that people bought with real money, any change to it will result in a huge backlash from those that bought it. So they knew they screwed up, but they refused to nerf the premiums in the fear of people wanting refunds, or even worse, threatening by leaving the game. So what they have said was actually quite reasonable. What wasn't reasonable though was the way people reacted to it. In Server Strike, people started doing a lot of dumb shit. I still remember what was a common practice at the time. People just looked at the top 5 tanks of their team, and if they have seen less Riders of the Apocalypse, that's a nickname I gave them. Pretty neat, huh? Still, if they have seen less Riders of the Apocalypse on their team than they have seen on the enemy team, they just went AFK. They didn't care. People just didn't think it was worth to spend 10 minutes of their lives on a match they knew they were going to lose. This quite commonly resulted in matches where 3, 4 or perhaps even 5 people went AFK. Wargaming needed to do something fast. Real fast. And they actually did. Half a year later. Jesus, you got longer response time than the fucking Chamberlain. Also, if you couldn't tell, the premium tanks are still a problem. But now to the second elephant in the room. The lack of realism. Well, lack of realism. By lack of realism, I mean that you don't feel like you're driving a tank anymore. I don't mean something like lack of realistic maps or battlefields or whatever. Every single tank feels like a car nowadays, with its wobbliness and mobility and almost everything else. This is not a tank game anymore. This could be attributed mainly to the power creep of mobility and penetration, which I know some of the people actually like, but seriously, tanks are supposed to feel heavy, like two bears fighting over a fishing spot, just bashing each other, slowly killing one another, not a fucking Forza Horizon 4 with bloody guns. Sure, the increased penetration means that there is less RNG involved, as people just know they are going to pen the enemy. But there's also less skill involved, as your angling doesn't matter anymore. You either are angled at 70 degrees or you're dead. Oh, and the tanks in real life are just as fast as the tanks in this game, but on hard terrain. Not in the middle of a desert. In the middle of a desert, they move at 50 km per hour tops, just due to the way their tracks work. Oh, and the wobbling. The fucking wobbling. Tanks don't wobble. They tilt. There are some fake ass Viagra pills. They do not have curved bottoms to wobble like this. They are supposed to have their butt go up and then fall down with a loud crash, and that's it. No wobbling. Oh, and if it comes to lack of realism, there are also the fake tanks, and I'm not gonna talk about them. They are not much of a problem in my opinion. Sure, they make the game less realistic, but most of them actually feel like they could exist in a real life. Well, most. And I'd most certainly prefer a fake tank over no tank at all. I still think they should start adding tanks the way they do it in War Thunder. Next up is a Matchmaker. To this theme there are only two types of people. Those who think the +-2 Matchmaker is good, and those who think it's terrible and that it should be removed. I'm not gonna go somehow deeply into this discussion, but I think this roller coaster of rage and saltiness is much more fun than this same tier borehole. Please don't pick up the forks. What I know for sure though is that everybody hates when they get into a match and they see this. A freaking 44% win rate tomato, just smiling at them, ready to ruin their game. Why do they have to be on my team again? And they're just one side of the spectrum. On the other side you get this trio of unicorns that always appears on the enemy team and just carries their entire team on their backs. That is treachery! I just want you on my team for once. I simply don't get why World of Tanks can't just have a normal matchmaker. I don't care about what you do to the tier system, just please don't make it same tier. I just want enemies that are about the same level as me. This would also filter out the stat bearers and steel clubbers. Actually, why wasn't this put into the game yet? That's a lot of points. Still, long story short, every class has a certain annoying thing about them that literally everybody hates. And all start with premium things, but that's not important right now. What's important is that to remove these annoying things, Wargaming just adds more annoying things to counter the old annoying things. Why not just remove them altogether? Or at least lessen them. The premium spam became an issue because Wargaming buffed hard tier heavies to counter the problematic premium tanks. Premium tanks again. To fix this issue, they shouldn't remove premium rounds as many people suggest. Instead, they should make different types of ammunition actually different from one another. For example, APCRs would have faster reload time, high accuracy but low alpha damage and penetration. Heat would take longer to reload, have mediocre accuracy, mediocre alpha damage but high penetration, etc, etc. This would also make balancing of tanks a lot easier, as Wargaming could just nerf one type of ammunition or maybe even remove it from a certain tank. The artillery and camper problem could be dealt with by giving artilleries their real life purpose. You know, destroying cover. They could, for example, damage bushes and decrease their camouflaging capabilities, make small craters for their allies to go hull down in, or blow a hole on the side of an already existing crater to make it useless. Maybe even add the full destructible modal the Wargaming's been teasing us for 4 fucking years at this point, and make the RTs the best at destroying buildings. And so my good mood. Simply said, Wargaming should start changing the game to fix the problems, and by doing so, actually start removing them, instead of just replacing one problem with another. One life system. Oh, how much I hate this thing. Why? Well, it's because it literally never works for any game. Well, apart from duel games, boss rush games, battle royale games, Actually, it works for a lot of games. But what those games have in common is that when you die, the game ends as well, and you get this screen that shows you how well you have performed. In World of Tanks, after you die, the game goes on, but without you. This means that even if you get like 3 or 4 kills, so we have had a good game, you can still lose because people can't win 8 versus 1. Now, I'm not saying that we should have endless respawns. We have had that. It used to be called Frontline, and most of the matches end up looking like a game in Age of War. You know, just 2 teams and a never-ending corridor standoff. That is the reason why defenders in that game mode had like 86% win rate. What I'm saying is that we should have some kind of a system that would allow players to respawn, obviously with some limitations to it. I'll once again point out that filthy War Thunder with their working free life system. When I used to play War Thunder, part of the reason why I liked it so much was this system. I simply knew that if I die, I got 2 more tanks to respawn with. Sure, it bothered me that I had died, of course, but while playing, I didn't have to worry about the fact that I might die. But now to the last point in this video, the community. I've played many games throughout my life. League of Legends, World of Warcraft, CSGO, Dota, you get the point. But I've never seen a game with a community that's as toxic as the one in World of Tanks. Recently I started playing Warframe, which is like a polar opposite of World of Tanks if it comes to community. And in the 100 hours, maybe, that I played this game, I have not been yelled at once. At one point I even screwed over 200 people that played with me by deploying Excavator at the wrong moment. This caused the wave to end preemptively and consumed our relics. In case you don't know what a relic is in this game, it's basically like a loot box, but to open it, you have to go through a certain mission. And on multiplayer, it gives you more loot, so people always open them in groups. But since I deployed the excavator too soon, we didn't manage to crack open the relics before the round has ended. This basically meant that our relics were consumed and we got jack diddly shit nothing. Basically wasting 15 minutes of our lives because of my mistake. The people I played with were obviously pissed about it, but they didn't make a big deal out of it. They explained to me how to avoid such a mistake in the future and moved on, all with a humorous undertone. This made me realize just how bad is the community in World of Tanks. If I ever did such a thing in this game, people would burn me on a stake. What makes the matters even worse is that this game is just filled with those 12-year-old Russian kids that somehow slipped into the EU West servers and now demand that everybody speaks Russian. The people in this game are so inept, and yet they blame everything on the game devs, the RDs, on literally everyone else but them. Geez, I thought that Fortnite will just soak up all the toxic people of the internet. That's at least what happened to League of Legends. But I guess that some games are just so rotten they became straight up immune. Either way, I'm going to cut the video right about here, since beyond this point I just kind of start talking about theoretical ways of making the game better, like, I don't know, introducing more game modes and stuff like that. It sort of went with the theme of the video, but I just wasn't really confident with it, with putting it inside of my video. So I just decided to kind of like cut it and make the end of the video over here. And let's be honest here, I'll be also too lazy to edit it out, so it's probably for better that I end it over here. Either way, this is gonna be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!